Morning. Are you coming in then? Good morning, and what a show we've got lined up for you today too. Adventurer and explorer Simon Reeve will be here. He'll be tucking into a dish of mackerel and a plate of lamb meatballs when he drops by the house a little bit later. Cornwall's finest, Paul Ainsworth, will be joining us on the show, this time from Cornwall, and he's making the ultimate smoked salmon Scotch eggs. And don't miss this week's little masterclass, where we'll be giving you a step-by-step guide in making the perfect baked cheesecake. That's not all, because we're joined by a couple of familiar faces on the show today. He's going to be creating two amazing recipes. These are the most two talented chefs in the business, bar none. It's good friends of the show and mine. It's Dipna, Anand and Galmiche. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Ladies first, what are you going to be making for us then?
I am going to be cooking up some palak chicken, so spinach chicken with
So
some...
what is palak chicken? Tell me.
So palak is spinach.
Yeah.
So it's a spinach chicken curry.
Right.
Served up with some lachha paratha, which is layered parathas with lots of butter.
Right, OK. I've never seen that before.
Never either.
This is a small piece of chicken, is it? Or is it...
So it's like a chicken curry, but made with a spinach masala with onion and tomatoes, and then flavoured with, like, coriander, cumin.
Looking forward to that.
Special
You've not got
garam
chicken on the menu, you've got duck on the menu.
No, I've got duck on the menu, yeah, with some beautiful flat peaches, which are poached, with a little bit of Szechuan pepper,
Yeah.
a bit of cinnamon. The duck is roasted, served with a small jus de glace with sherry vinegar.
Classically
Simple,
French.
classic, and a touch of tarragon to lift a little bit the flavour of these peaches.
Man's a genius. Right, now these people are cooking for us a little bit later, but I thought I'd start off today with cooking a recipe for middle white pork. And I'm going to introduce you to this amazing side that we'll introduce you in a second. But first of all, roast pork. So I know it's one of your favourite things. It's one of your favourite things as well.
Absolutely.
So between the three of us, I love this. So this is a loin of pork. And what I've got in here is middle white. It's a particular type of breed. Now, this became famous in the Second World War. There was loads of middle white pork. Because middle white pork is actually, I think, it's the best pork you can buy. I really do. I mean, the Spanish have some amazing pork, but in this country, middle white, purebred middle white is amazing. So this is middle white pork. And you can tell it's middle white because the amount of marbling of fat that's on there as well. And also the colour of the meat. It's not light. It's quite a dark meat as well. So what I'm going to do is to get to crispy crackling, and you get from the quality of the pork, but what I want to do is just take a hobby knife and just score the top of this. Now, the best way to do this is get your butcher to do this, really, if you haven't got a hobby knife, but you can't really do it with one of these sort of chef's knives. I don't know about...
It's so thick, isn't it?
It is quite thick, but what you want to do is get quite in there so it opens it up like that. So it just becomes easier to carve as well, but this is where you're going to get this amazing crackling out. Be careful with this knife, whatever you do, like that. I've scarred for life with this. I did this when I was a young kid, taking my cabriolet. Well, I had a normal little Capri, little toy Capri, and I wanted to turn it into a cabriolet Capri, and I used one of these.
Oh, yeah.
8 years old, that's not a good idea.
Yeah,
so
no.
when I've got the nice little pork like that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do very, very little with it. And I think that's the key to this when you have it this quality. So you take a little bit of that. Then I'm going to take some fresh thyme, just a touch, and just chop it. Like that. It needs nothing else. You can use rosemary, you can use sage if you want, but I just think a little bit of thyme over the top.
Goes so well, huh?
And then some sea salt. So Maldon salt or sea salt over the top. And then what you want to do is just take this, then put it into the little gaps. You see where you've cut?
Yeah.
This salt is just going to sit in there over the top like that. And then do nothing else with it. No oil, no boiling water, nothing. Set the temperature quite high. This is 250 degrees, 240 at least it wants to be. And what you want to do is shock this pork now. This is going to take about 2.5 hours, depending on the thickness, sometimes 3.5 hours. But you want to shock this in a very, very hot oven first for about half an hour. After about half an hour, turn the temperature down and cook it about 180 for another hour and a half. Depending on the thickness, sometimes it can take 2 hours. So 2.5 hours total, really. And then just switch the oven off and leave it. And I've got one in there. So start it off hot and then turn it down. And with that, I'm going to serve it with a nice little classic apple sauce that I said to you about this cider, which I'm going to introduce you to this amazing company as well. As you know, when we started this in COVID land, introducing you to all the amazing suppliers we have in this country. And we've gone the length and breadth of the UK, meeting all these amazing producers like that. I know you're French, but a big fan of all the amazing producers we have in this country as well.
Absolutely.
But we're just going to take the nice little bit of Bramley apples, and then cook this with a little bit of cider, some brown sugar. And I thought I'd serve this with some mashed potatoes, some crispy fried sage, and make a little sauce with it. It's going to be nice and simple.
Right up the
But you're just going to start this off in a hot pan, like that. And I'm going to start off by chopping up the apples, nice and small like that, with some brown sugar to help it along, a little bit of butter, and then some of this cider. Now, I'm just going to take probably take this one. There we go. Take our little bit of cider. I'm going to use this cider because I know Jonathan, who you're about to introduce you with, is checking out which cider that I've gone for and which one I'm going to use for cooking. So now's the time, Jonathan. I can see you waiting in the wings. So we're going to find out more about where this cider comes from. So we're heading to the West Country, of course, to speak to Jonathan Kemp from the award-winning Bristol Cider Company. All the while I'm just putting this cider on, I've hopefully... Good morning to you anyway, Jonathan. Hopefully I put the right cider in the right pot. Is that right?
Yes, you have. Thank you very much. I was hoping to see that bottle opened.
Good. I've done it the right way around, really. So tell me about how it all started then, because you're relatively new to this. This is something that the two of you set up, you and Mark, your mate. How did it all start off, and where did the idea come from?
Well, basically, years ago, Mark and myself, Mark Chappell, were working together in the drinks industry in the Southwest. And we realised there was a gap in the Bristol market for a really gorgeous tasting local cider.
Yeah.
So obviously we're both really passionate about cider, and we both thought, actually, let's just go ahead and actually start. So we got hold of someone who obviously...
Can I just say, no experience of this, no experience of running a factory before, none of this, just go, let's go ahead.
No, that's why it was so important right from the very beginning that we got someone on board who did have many, many years experience of cider making.
Right.
That was our priority right from the beginning. Obviously, I've got some experience before. My family were big producers of wine in Devon, so I've got some, obviously knowledge of production anyway. But it was very much for us. We wanted to obviously cater for the local pubs, bars, restaurants within Bristol initially. And literally in 2017, we decided to start it up.
So tell me about this. This is the one that I've just given you. This is the steam.
Yes.
Tell me about this steam then, because, the cider and the cider, let's be frank, the difference between a commercial one that's clear and fizzy, to the one that you have.
Yes.
Explain the big difference.
Right, the big difference is our primary fermentation, and that's where obviously, like saying whether it's wine, whether it's cider, whatever, our fermentation takes weeks as opposed to days. So if it's a kind of more of a craft element, then you will take weeks to ferment. Obviously, if it's sometimes commercial, it can take days. And that's obviously because ours is from pure apple juice. And obviously, if you have others, they can be made from concentrate, and they can be made from others, but ours isn't. Ours is actually from apple juice. So that's the difference. That's why it takes a good couple of weeks to ferment.
The flavour, and this all, obviously Bristol is famous for a lot of things, famous for produce. Not a bad few restaurants in Bristol, I might add, because you used to have a little restaurant in Bristol.
I used to run Harvey's restaurant.
You used to have a restaurant in Bristol as well. Particularly, obviously, surrounded by amazing orchards. You don't have an orchard yourself, is it? That you utilise all the amazing area, because sustainability is a big thing for you, isn't it, really?
It is. It really is. So for us, when we've got Somerset on our doorstep and we've got so many amazing producers of the greatest cider apples you can wish to have, they're on our doorstep, that we just utilise that. Sustainability is really important for us. We try and keep everything that we do for production within a 50-mile radius. So obviously for us, that's really important, to try and make sure. And it's actually become really important for our customers. So we've got some of our trade customers that actually asked us to fill in sustainability studies with them to show them and prove to them that all of our products and what we use, our packaging and everything is kept as local as possible. And Bristol's very hot on that. It really is a leading example of places that really want to focus on that element of production of food and drink.
And I suppose now, as we go from September, October, this is when it all starts to kick in for you then, is it? September, October, now on the lead up to Christmas. This is where your business it's make or break. This is where it all happens, isn't it?
It does. Well, for the orchards, obviously, for the actual apples, you're talking for cider apples, you're talking mid-September, October when they'll be picked. If you're talking about, obviously, more other style of apples, it's normally sort of at the beginning of September. But obviously for us in terms of trade, we do throughout the whole year, we have, and since because of COVID as well. Since we came back, we now do food and drink festivals throughout the year.
Tell me before you go, how you produce it, because you've got mango ones, you've got all different flavours. How do you incorporate the flavour of that into your cider as well before we let you go?
Yeah, so basically, when you've obviously got our Somerset cider, normally about 2 weeks prior to the end of the process, fermentation, what we'll do is we'll blend in, whether it's obviously mango, whether it's our elderflower, which is one of our newest, or basically our pear. Obviously, we've got that pear is 80% peri pears, 20% apple, obviously blended together. So that's normally what we do. It's normally about a 2 week before we actually finish putting it into whatever vessel we're going to put them in.
Well, Jonathan, what you do end up with your nice cider is a bit of roast pork.
Absolutely.
Bit of middle white roast pork.
Just a bit.
You ready?
Just a bit. And we just take a chunk of this off of here.
I am salivating.
Well, this is the best bit. I've got to say, this is the bit as a kid we used to fight over. You're looking at me as if I'm...
we fight over the crackling.
My granny used to pop this into a bowl. She never had a fridge. She used to have a larder. And it used to sit in the larder and go soft, and you'd fight for the jelly on the bottom to have it in your sandwiches.
So good.
Oh, unbelievable. But now, look at this. And you cook it for... This is... And you chop this all through. We'll take a sharp knife and a carving fork, and you just... And you've got the roast pork with a crispy crackling.
Look at that. Huh?
I'm dribbling.
with it as well.
Just don't look at me, I'm dribbling.
Okay.
This is amazing. This is exactly what you want with your nice little bit of cider, and then you get your plates. I'll do 2, 1 up.
I think you need to do even 3. No.
Even 3, and then we just take our crispy crackling on here. I don't know whether you can see that, Jonathan, whether I've done it justice, but you got the roast pork, the chunk of crackling on it as well, the bit on there, and then we've got some mashed potato. So good.
You have to, huh? Classic, huh? Has to be done, no?
Yeah, a little bit of mashed potato on there. And then your apples. These are the ones that I've just cooked, these little bit of apples with a nice little bit of your cider as well. Dollop of that. And then I've made a cider sauce with everything else that's going to go with it as well.
I think we're in paradise, huh?
Yes.
Over the top. Happy with that? It's
yeah.
not a bad start to the show, is it, really, this one?
Fabulous.
Bit of that. And
Stunning, stunning.
this is all about texture now. You take some of this amazing crispy sage. It goes over the top. Jonathan, I wish you all the very best with your cider as well. And I know that success is definitely coming to you because you've just run recently an award. I can see it on here. You're proud as punch. You got a silver sticker from the Global World Awards as well. So congratulations on that, and cheers to everything you're doing as well. Best of luck with everything. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Pleasure. It's a pleasure. Good luck with everything. So there we have it. My roast pork with cider and apple sauce, mashed potato, crispy sage. Done. Right. Bon appetit.
Ooh, yes.
You're checking out who's got the most crackling on it.
Yeah. He's got more than me.
He's got more than you. You've got loads coming. Don't worry.
Yeah. You can have some.
So, tell me what you think of that. Crispy crackling.
Beautiful apple.
You can hear the crackling, but the crispy, the sage is
well. Yeah. So tender. Top. Well, I think I'm going to stay there all day now.
That's off the hook. It's actually
off the hook.
It's off the hook.
Is that a new saying?
It's all this expression, half of them I don't understand anyway. And my son who said, Papa, I can't believe you don't understand that.
No, it's a learning curve.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Crispy crackling as well. Start it off hot in the oven like that and turn it down. There you go. I'll be serving up barbecue mackerel, and for my guests, Simon Reeve, that's coming up very shortly. And we've got a cheesecake masterclass in store for you a little bit later. But join us again after the break when Dipna and Daniel, we were trying to solve some of your kitchen dilemmas. With me, of course. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, I'll be cooking a first course of mackerel for my guest Simon Reeve very shortly, and I'll be giving you a little masterclass in cheesecake later on this morning. But before that, I'm here with chefs Dipna Anand and Daniel Galmiche, and I thought I'd take a look at some of the amazing dishes that you've been making at home. So, first up, eyes on the screens, guys. First up, big well done goes to Amber Marsden, who made this pear and frangipane tart. How
Very
good
nice.
does that look?
And the colour, all unify. It's fantastic.
Pretty good. Puff pastry on its base as well, by the looks of things. Looks really, really good.
Yes.
Yeah, delicious.
And it's good
there.
to use pear. Good idea.
Next up, we've got a photograph from Jeanette Richell from Chelmsford, who started baking her own sourdough loaves. Great stuff there. Anybody that
it's
bakes their own
lovely.
bread will know that there's so much great joy out of doing
It is.
sourdough. You
Yeah.
think?
But it's the fact you do the dough and the mix and
But
you
also that
touch
leaving
it.
a little bit left over, and
Yeah.
you encourage you to do it again and again and again. don't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's great.
Even the
we've
designs.
we do it in the restaurant. We started off, I remember starting it off 6 months before we opened. We've been open 10 years now. And it's the same starter that
Yeah.
we've used 6 months before we opened, and we still use that. So it's the enjoyment that you get thinking,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's been running for 10 years.
Yes, I mean,
exactly.
it's fantastic.
There you go. Time now for a dessert from Lorraine Stapley. She's been hard at work making chocolate fondants. How does
Yeah.
that one?
Well, it's
Caramel
good.
sauce to go
Yeah.
with it as well. Chocolate
Very
fondants,
nice
really, really
indeed.
good.
It's nice and gooey.
And finally, top marks this week goes to Steve Donahue, who served at this stunning plate of hake. I think this is from Daniel Galmiche's cookbook, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I
How
think
does
so
that-
too. No, I'm
Look at
going
that.
I'm thinking about it actually. Very nicely done.
Now,
I
hake's
mean,
an interesting fish, isn't it? Really, I mean, sometimes it sticks with the skin can be quite tricky, particularly if you're going to barbecue it or on the coals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
But it's
not
great
clay
to
oven
use
if that's
hake.
what you're thinking.
Not a clay oven, but the best way,
No, sure not,
if you
no.
do get the opportunity to buy hake, a little bit of salt, leave it for 10,
Yeah.
15 minutes,
Yeah.
just wash it off, pat it dry, and then use it.
Yeah,
It
always
firms
put
up
in
the
a
flesh
bit of a salt solution.
There you
But
go.
it's great to see someone using hake. It was forgotten for such a long time, and now it's back again, which is and it looks
First dish I ever cooked in France, that.
Wow, did
I
you?
was
Wow.
8 years old in a restaurant.
Yeah, we eat a lot of hake
with
all the
beurre
time.
blanc with steamed potatoes.
with beurre blanc.
I was 8.
Allez,
That's
let's
all I
go.
had to do for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
There you go. It's imprinted in my brain.
Yes.
Didn't look like that either. Now, as well as your photographs, we've had loads of questions about food and cooking. So I thought I'd put both of you to the test. There's a couple of questions in here about me as well.
Yeah.
So I've got to put my glasses on for this one. This is just an
That's
age
all right.
thing, really.
I wear mine too.
Right. Tanya Taylor. My husband buys salmon whole from the supermarket as it works out cheaper than buying individual fillets. Correct. But what's the best way and most efficient way to fillet it?
It just pass behind the head, just on the side, and you just slide down and pull it off.
I think the best way...
But, you know,
Get Dad to do it.
Get Dad to do it.
Yeah, probably, yes.
I think the big... You want a big carving knife. I
yes.
think that's the big...
Yeah.
big
Quite
non-serrated
sharp as
carving
well,
knife.
because you need to go through the bone.
Quite long. I think
Yeah.
that's the best way.
Yeah.
Carve it through it like that is
Yeah.
the best way.
Turn it and we do the same. Yeah.
If you're doing anything like that, I think the best way to do it is basically just check it online, look at a video for filleting
Yeah,
fish, and just
absolutely.
follow that. That's the
Yeah.
crucial way to do it. But
Yeah.
be really, really careful. Really sharp, long knife is what you want.
Absolutely.
Layla, this time of year, autumn, produce to have to offer. What would be your favourite?
Produce galore in autumn, probably the best season for food. Game, obviously, is out. A lot of autumn fruit, and we're talking fig, which always underrated. You can do so many things with figs. I just love them. Obviously, wild duck, the mala, the mushroom.
Yeah. Well, mushrooms as well. You've got to talk about
And
mushrooms.
lamb definitely.
See, I like lamb this time of the year. Everybody
Yeah.
talks about spring lamb. I think UK lamb is just...
Yeah, it's
It
better.
is,
I
it
think I
is.
agree. It's better in autumn than early.
I think
Yeah,
so. I think so as well. There you go.
definitely. Yeah. So
and
lots
we
of
t-
fun.
yeah, there we go. Now we talked about game. We mentioned game as
Game,
well.
yeah.
Jackie Peterson. Never cooked game before. What can I do with a crown or breast of pheasant? Pheasant's probably the most tricky one, I think.
Because it's a dry meat. So two things. You cook on the bone, the crown, cook on the bone, and I would recommend to put a bit of pancetta still on the top of it so it doesn't dry.
like you were doing with chicken.
So it doesn't dry.
Would you
But
brown it off
cook
first?
Yes, you would. And cooking on the bone will make the difference. You need to use a hen pheasant and not the male.
Yeah.
Because it's much too tough.
What, it needs to be on the pheasant needs to be on the bone.
On the crown.
Oh, the crown.
So if he buys the crown, it's on the bone automatically.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's much better to keep that moist as well. Because if you take the fillet out of the crown and you pan roasted, they will dry so quickly.
The only other way, if you are going to do that, or you're left with pheasant breast, that kind of stuff, I would open it out, pat it out, and do it sort of. You can put it with cheese and ham and fold it all
if you
over.
want to, that's a different, yeah.
That
I
kind
know
of
what
thing,
I mean.
or
Yeah,
you can,
yeah.
or you can do it with a Kiev, pheasant Kiev.
Yeah, it's
tastes
nice. Yeah,
amazing. if you take a garlic butter and make exactly the same
And
thing as
that
a
will
chicken
keep
Kiev,
it moist as well.
do it with pheasant. But when you deep fry it, chop the temperature down, 160, something like that, works absolutely brilliant. There we go. Now, if there's anything you'd like to know about food and cooking, then do get in touch. We'll try to answer some of your questions right here on the show. I enjoy doing that. It's good. It's like question time for cooks, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
I know, it's fantastic.
Right, do keep sending your pictures and videos coming in. We'd love to see what you've been inspired to cook at home as well. Right, Daniel and Dipna will be cooking for us shortly, and also I'm enjoying a dish from the one and only Paul Ainsworth as well. We'll see you back here in a few minutes when we've got barbecued mackerel on the menu for adventurer and explorer Simon Reeve. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now I'll be giving you a crash course in cheesecake in this week's little masterclass, and Chef Dipna Anand will be sharing a fantastic recipe for palak chicken. That'll be coming up with us a little bit later. But first, I'm here with an amazing globe-trotting adventurer, filmmaker and presenter who's got more stamps on his passport than all of us have had hot dinners. It's the brilliant Simon Reeve. Welcome to the house. Welcome to the house. So I was trying to think of all the places where you've been to, and is it 130 countries you got stamped in your passport?
Something mad like that.
You must have had a recount. Have you? Is there 130 countries? How many countries are there?
Oh no, there's more. There's more to go still.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you're at there's nearly 200.
Right.
And then there's loads.
Oh, there's only 70 more then, right?
But there's loads of unrecognised places, and you can go back to the same place 5 times. Now, somebody who's been to Brazil for a week and says, "Oh, I've done Brazil." I mean, come on, that's, you could go there.
Not done Brazil. Anyway, we'll talk about that anyway, because I know you're venturing off again, aren't you? Quite quickly, in a few hours' time. You've got to be at the airport.
Family holiday. Yeah, we're off to the beach and looking forward to it.
I love this. So I'm going to cook you a little. In fact, 2 dishes. I'm going to cook you because I know you love your mackerel.
I do.
So I love mackerel as well. So
good, healthy, oily fish.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to do 2 amazing dishes. Japanese influence, really. But
right.
Cook them nice and simple on one of these little grills. One with a little rice noodle salad, and the other one with an amazing little sauce using chicken stock as a sauce.
Okay,
interesting. Chicken
interesting.
stock, soy, and a little bit of yuzu, all of which you can buy this sort of stuff as well. So it's really simple. But first of all, what I want to do is get on the mackerel first of all. And I've got this called butterflied mackerel, which is. I get the fishmonger to do this because, trust me, he's far better at it than me, really doing this. But it basically
super sharp knife.
It's super sharp knife,
Lot
nice
of
and
skill.
clean like that. And then all I'm going to do with this is just take some salt and cook this over some coals. But this is the key to it, really. And I learnt this on my travels, not as far as where you're going, into Spain. This is a combination of olive oil, 5 parts olive oil, 1 part white wine vinegar. You shake it up, and you use this to spray on the fish. And this stops the fish from sticking, supposedly, to the barbecue. So, and you use
that is the problem when you're pulling that apart, and half the fish is left behind.
Yeah, well, it should be. You just put it straight on the coals like that.
Yeah.
Like this, and you just use this to cook the fish as well. It's that vinegar and oil combination.
Yeah.
But it's just 5 parts olive oil, 1 part vinegar. That's it. And
You've
you
got
just
some
put
good sizzling there.
It's it. There we go. That's just going to nicely grill. Now, you mentioned the fact you're going on holiday. Where on earth do you
It's already smelling good. Yeah.
Who books the holiday? Because you've got...
Well, not me.
The wife books the holiday.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a family discussion, but I say yes. Yeah.
Well,
and that's the way it should be. I get to travel
put a list
for
of
work.
countries going, what about Mongolia, and go to see the yaks in Mongolia, or is this your beach holiday and that's it?
This is the beach holiday. It's not total relaxing. No, we're going to Greece. And as a family, we love Greece. My wife speaks fluent Greek. She reads and writes Greek. She's been going there since she was a child. Lucky her.
She's a camerawoman, isn't she?
She was a camerawoman.
Right.
Yeah, she's still got the skills. You know, if you need somebody on the team, we work together. Actually, we did travel together some pretty hairy places across the Sahara Desert and so on. But no, so she's now said, this is where we're going, and I'm saying yes, that's absolutely brilliant. Thank you, darling, for booking it. Wonderful. So a bit of a beach holiday.
It's quite interesting because we've
for the lad.
Because we've had like Ben Fogle on the show and Ray Mears, and when their upbringing has always been about the countryside, and that's where they were brought up and they're venturing and all that kind of stuff.
Interesting.
Your upbringing is completely the opposite of that, isn't it? Really, it's just it wasn't the countryside at all.
No, it's pretty urban. Yeah, I mean, edge of inner city London. I mean, there's always, I've got too much hair and probably poshed up my voice a bit over the decades. So yeah, there's always that assumption that I'm another public school boy on the telly, and I totally understand that. And I've certainly had my privileges, but no, I grew up on the edge of inner city London. I didn't get on a plane until I was an adult. I flunked out of school. I was on the dole. Went to quite a dark place, you know, in terms of my head health in my teens, and
Where
somehow
was the love of
managed-
adventuring going? When did that
there
sort of
wasn't-
click?
I'm not sure it ever did really click in that sense. I mean, maybe I started going on journeys a bit as as an adult, and in my teens I was just adventuring around West London, to be honest. But it is. I mean, you're sort of saying it clicks. It is a state of mind, really. I did love exploring on my BMX bike when I was a lad with my brother, and with my grandma actually when
Can
I
I
was
ask you
even
what
younger.
BMX you had? Because we're both similar age.
Oh man, what did I have? I had a Raleigh. It wasn't a great one. It wasn't cool. I was an embarrassment, but I was more
Did you have
embarrassed.
mag wheels on it though? This is totally irrelevant.
The mag wheels were what you would stand on.
Yeah, no, the mag wheels were the plastic wheels that you'd have.
No, I didn't have. I had spokes. I had spokes.
I had spokes,
But I
too.
did have the trick nuts. Trick nuts. That
Trick
was it,
nuts,
wasn't
front
it?
and back, you
Yeah,
see?
yeah, front and back trick nuts. And oh my goodness, we used to do things that I'd never let my son do now. Not really. I mean, that was proper risky times when you're 13 and you think you're. Is that it? It's already done.
Well, it's not it, but that's it cooked. Look, but you see, look, by
That's
using
the speed which you can.
Well, using that spray, look, it's so.
Oh my goodness! It doesn't need more. See, I massively overcook things. I'd be leaving it on there going, oh, maybe it needs another 5 minutes,
No,
but
it doesn't need- it needs no more than a minute. That's all
Yeah,
it needs.
no, okay.
On one side, and then about 15
Much to
seconds on
learn.
the other side. And I'm going to do this nice little dressing with it as well. So, where do I start about all the places you went travelling and adventuring and stuff like that? Where's the place where you just think this is the place where I would go back to, and this is live? Because I often think, where would you pick
Live is a
anywhere in the
tricky
world?
one.
Or is that such a, you just
I love where we are. I genuinely do. I'm not one of these types who goes away and whinges about a blighty. I love coming home. A lot about the country drives me mad. Where would I live? Obviously, Greece. I would love to retire to. In my dotage, Spain. That would be very nice. Where do I go? That's really astonishing, which is what I'm really looking for. Madagascar is properly blow your mind amazing. Madagascar, you're off the coast of East Africa, you're on an island which has got Africa and Asia mixed and blended together in really strange ways. And that's somewhere where I've been, where you go over a hill there and you see a sight you've never seen anywhere on the planet, and you think, this is what I love about travelling. This is what I love about
I thought it'd be
exploring.
something like the Congo or somewhere like Brazil or somewhere Madagascar, you'd say.
Madagascar's got a bit of everything, but because it's been cut off from the rest of the planet for thousands of years, life has evolved there in very different ways. So, yeah, I would say Madagascar is... When you start saying one place in that cruel way that people do, OK, Madagascar's probably astonishing. But everywhere's been very special.
Well, the reason why I'm putting you on the spot like that, because this all comes relevant when you're talking about the tour, because trying to get all the conversations that you've had and all the places where you visited, trying to put that in, what is it, an hour and a half on stage?
Almost 2 hours, yeah.
2 hours. It's still quite difficult to focus it all down to that.
Yeah.
So tell us about the tour then, because this is exciting. You're venturing out on the road, not as far as the Congo and stuff like this one.
No, I'm smiling when I think of the tour because I'm excited about doing it. So I've got that coming up. I'm doing a theatre tour of the UK, and I did one before that was, I would say, a surprising success. It wasn't my idea. It was suggested to me. I thought, I can't do that. It turned out I sort of managed it, and I absolutely loved it. I like seeing people and engaging with them and telling the tales and everything.
Because you're a great communicator, and that's what you need to be. Well, you are.
I think you've got to share the love, and all I can offer really is honesty. I'll certainly offer that, and total transparency. I think is really important. And then trying to encourage people to get away from the little screens and, you know, the digital world and get out into the big wide world, because that's been a massive tonic for me, for my head health and for my heart and brain. So, yeah, I want to share that with people. So what do? I've come up with a little tour. I was writing it last night and working on it. Goodness me. Working away on the laptop as you do.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you've got to come up with something that holds together for nearly 2 hours on stage. And I've got my behind-the-scenes footage. I've got things to show people. But I've got to come up with things now that stories I haven't told people before. And I've written a couple of books, for goodness sake.
I suppose we can't
come up with new stuff.
I'm going to get onto the books as well a little bit later on, because you wrote a book on one particular person, Bin Laden, before 9/11, before everybody knew, the whole world knew about it. But that comes from your journalistic background, because you didn't want to go travelling. What was it? Delivering the post for the newspapers and that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So I'd been on the dole. I had this tough start, definitely, and I struggled a lot. But then I got a job as a post boy on the Sunday Times newspaper. That's how my little career began.
Right.
And it's luck, really. You know, I mean, so many things often are. And loads of people could have done what I did, I'm sure. But I got a job as a postboy, and I really, you know, suddenly I found that the adult world wasn't as terrifying as I'd feared it would be. You know, a lot of people think, you know, teenage life is a scary time, and you think that being in the adult world is going to be horrific. But for me, it was great. Everyone was lovely. They were welcoming. They helped me. They showed me things to do, and they mentored me. And I started to sort of spread my wings. And so I went from being a postboy to being a junior investigator, and then I started writing, and eventually I left the paper and started writing books. And as you say,
Where does the book on that particular subject come about?
well, when I was working, I was doing investigations for the newspaper, and it grew out of that. I was investigating, working on things like organised crime and nuclear smuggling and terrorism. And in 1993, there was an attack on the World Trade Center. Yeah. And I started investigating that, the World Trade Center in New York. This is obviously more than just under 10 years before 9/11. And I started writing and researching a book about that. And I was in my early 20s, and I was a bit, you know, naive, and I didn't have much rent or mortgage to pay, so I could spend years researching this book that nobody was interested in. And that's what I did. I spent 5 years researching a book, and it became the first book in the world, bizarrely, on Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda. And ultimately, that's how I come to be on TV, because when it came out, nobody read it, of course, but then 9/11 happened, and I'm pushed onto TV to talk about the events of that terrible day in 2001. And that led to talking with the BBC and other broadcasters about making TV programmes, you know.
Well, that's already 10 minutes of your tour talked about. Anyway,
it's
really
just strange how events in life happen, and you can either shy from them or say yes. And, you know, I haven't got many skills, but I did say yes at key moments, and I took chances
when it comes to that, though. I have to say, you go off on one tangent, and then it suddenly takes... You like that in life, though,
I absolutely do. I love it when somebody comes with something a bit left field and says, what about this? Or I come up with an idea that's a bit bonkers. And if you can follow it through, that's an amazing thing. I've been very, very lucky. I've done what I love. I've very rarely had to do anything I don't really enjoy, and I think that's the greatest privilege in life, quite
well,
frankly.
look, we're about to eat this one, so this is
a stunning. How do you do the talking while you're doing the working?
Well, I do a tour similar to you, and I have to talk and cook at the same time. But that's
have you trained your brain? I mean, I can barely hold the glass while the mouth is working.
It's like anything. If you mention the fact you've got to love what you do, the same thing with this. I actually love cooking. I love food. So
I know, but ladies and gentlemen, this man is multitasking in an extraordinary way.
But it becomes less of a chore and more of something that you love. You know, it's one of those things. It's a bit, but you doing what you do. You get on the plane, whereas other people would just frightened to death. I would just the places where you've been. I'm going.
It is doing it, isn't it? Actually, once you start, I mean, this was a big thing I talked about on my first tour. Really, was that if you break things down into small steps, you can achieve things that you would never think possible. As soon as you start, that looks amazing. As soon as you start doing something, it takes you on the path towards it. But you can be terrified of the destination, but just break that journey down into small sections.
I mean, we're going to talk loads about when you nearly got arrested and bits and MI5 and stuff like this. Is KGB and all that's yet to come. But just wanted to recap on this. This is a little sort of salad that I made with. We've got mint, coriander. Now, I've used a little bit of tamarind. You can buy this from the supermarket. You can either buy it as a paste, which I would recommend, because otherwise you buy it whole in a block, you've got bits of seeds and nuts, you've got to warm it all up in boiling water. It's a bit of a pain.
Right.
But the paste is quite bitter and sharp. But that, with the dressing, with the mint, the coriander and everything else, is really cool. This is another thing to look out for as well. This is called XO. It's not a brand, it's actually a sauce that they're made out of dried... It sounds really glamorous, dried fish, but chili.
Sounds fancy. It's not too fancy.
It tastes amazing. It's like a little paste, and that's
Can
also...
I have a smell?
Yeah. But it's like fermented. It's a bit like, you know, the harissa sort of fermented chili paste.
There's not much coming through, but I'm sensing there's a lot of flavour.
Yeah, that's sort of Korean-y sort of paste as well. But it's really quite unusual.
How far I have to hold it now to see?
We're all the same. Exactly. But that's another cool one. But this is a nice little salad with lime, and you don't need very little on it, with a little bit of soy. But this is the dressing that I want to show you about. So this is just chicken stock in here.
Yeah.
You can buy chicken stock in the packs.
Yeah.
Now, you can make a sauce with this. It's amazing, this, with mackerel. So it's chicken stock, soy sauce,
Yeah.
Equal quantities.
What are you put? You're putting in soy now, then?
This is just dark soy sauce.
Right.
And chicken stock.
Okay.
And then you put, this is called yuzu juice. So this
sorry?
This is a yuzu.
Yuzu juice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is a citrus. Now, when you're on travels, you will see this fresh. Very, very few times you see fresh yuzu. It's like a cross between a satsuma and a lime.
Okay. And it's acceptable out of a bottle.
But it's super. Just taste a little bit of that on your finger. It's super, super tasty. Really citrus.
I'm loving that.
It's amazing.
Not a word I can read on it, but brilliant.
It's called yuzu. YUZU. You can buy
Yuzu
it
juice,
online
all
as well.
I absolutely will.
And then
I need
this-
this advice and guidance.
Well, this is your little sauce.
I feel like I should be writing it all down, but
No,
I know
you're
somebody
right
will
with
help
it.
me
So
with
this
that.
is this little sauce with the mackerel.
Yeah.
You hardly need anything with it. Nice and simple. And then we just put some coriander on it. You can put a little bit of coriander over the top of there.
Because what I love, this looks, to me, this looks fancy.
It's not.
Good fresh ingredients, super quick.
It is super, super
Healthy,
good.
healthy.
We'll put all the ingredients on the website. People can find them.
Brilliant.
And this is in the summer I found chef's gadgets and stuff like that. This is
Yeah.
sesame seeds, toasted sesame seeds, and this is a little Japanese grinder. We grind down the sesame seeds over the
For
top
personal
of there.
use only, look at that.
Yeah, it's just a sesame seed grinder. I think it's really, really cool.
That's brilliant.
But there you have it. 2 dishes.
Where on earth did you find that? That's quite specialised.
There you go.
Loving it.
2 little
Okay.
dishes. There you have it. But there you have 2 little dishes, cooked nice and simple. And you're going to join us the rest of the show anyway. Before you catch your flight, we'll talk more about the KGB and all that sort of stuff while he's on tour. But there you go. Simon, everybody!
Hey!
Right. Oh, I'll give you this one first. You can try that one. That's the
Thank you.
chicken stock one. So that's really mild, that one. It's really unusual. That chicken stock and soy, you can actually buy it. This is what my supplier sells me already pre-done. This is not the chicken stock, but this is it's called yuzu katsu ponzu, but it's a ready-made sauce. But he did tell me you can't buy it in smaller bottles, but I think that was his excuse. But that's amazing. See, mackerel. What, no more than 30 seconds, 45 seconds?
The mackerel is absolutely perfect, of course. That's coming through brilliantly. But every element of it, fresh, just perfectly crisp, very tasty. And then the sauce as well, I'm absolutely loving it.
Sauce is it.
I really am.
So that's
I'm slightly stunned how quickly you whip that up. It's a
that's
bit
the
shocking.
mild one, but then I want you to try the noodle one. So that's the noodle one.
Am I
Just
sharing
recap-
this with someone?
No, it's fine. Your mint, coriander, the tamarind, like I say, that's the one in there. You put mint and coriander chopped up, some tamarind, some lime juice, lime zest, mix that all together with some oil. That's kind of it, really. A touch of chili in there as well to spice it up. But it's quite spicy. If you didn't want to buy the rice noodles, you can actually use raw bean sprouts with that. That's like, poof.
Oh, my goodness. How am I going to finish both?
It's all right. Well, you've got that or plain food in the next 3 hours. So I would dive into this if I was you, but super tasty, isn't it? There you go. There's more to come. Right, so I'll be serving up some lamb meatballs for Simon at the end of the show, and there's a masterclass in cheesecake coming your way very shortly. But I'll see you after the break as Chef Paul Ainsworth attempts to take Scotch eggs to another level. He's definitely going to be able to do that. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. I'll be teaching you the basics of cheesecake in this week's masterclass, and I'll be whistling up lamb meatballs for my guest Simon Reeve very shortly. But before that, we're leaving Hampshire behind and heading down to Cornwall as the very talented Paul Ainsworth invites us to his house and shows us how to make the perfect smoked salmon Scotch egg. Enjoy this one.
So today we're going to do a smoked salmon Scotch egg with curry mayonnaise and watercress. Now, here we have a beautiful piece of smoked salmon. Now, it's important that you get your smoked salmon whole and not sliced. And the reason for this is we just want to cut nice pieces like so. And then when we turn them round, as we go down more the middle of the fish, we can cut them in half again. And what you're after is basically about 1/2 centimetre dice, just like this. And you won't be able to get that if the salmon is pre-sliced. Don't need to be too fussy, don't need to be too chefy about it, just keep it to that sort of rough size, like your middle fingernail. Now we're gonna take our bowl and add in our salmon. So that's our salmon diced. So we're just gonna move that over here. Now we're gonna move on to this, the jacket potato. This is really important part of the dish. This is our binding agent, which is gonna act like the sausage meat in a traditional Scotch egg. So we're just gonna cut it open like so. It's important that the jacket potato is still warm. Don't let it go cold. And we're just gonna take our jacket like so and scoop the potato into the bowl. So our potato is acting like a binding agent, just like the sausage meat would be in a traditional Scotch egg. You don't need a lot. Now, spring onions. Washed, peeled, and just taking the stem off from the bottom, and just slightly cut them on the angle, like so, nice and thin. So when they're distributed between this lovely salmon mix, they'll retain lots of nice crunch, but they'll just be slightly warm from when these go into the fryer. Next, we need some acidity. Take our lemon, like so, just on a microplane, and grate into the bowl. Same with the limes. Just basically taking the oils from all the lovely lime and lemon skin. Now we're gonna add the juice of the lemon and lime, and that's really gonna give us that wonderful acidity, works so nice with the salmon. So just squeeze in. Last couple of ingredients, some sweet chili. So we're just gonna nibble drop. We don't want too much. Brings a nibble sweetness, but also a lovely mild heat. This is just pure heat, not much, some Tabasco. Really nice with the salmon. So again, just a little bit, okay? It's very hot, but just lends a nice little gentle warmth. You can start to see it's got a little bit of an Asian influence here with the chili, with the lime, the spring onions, and some lovely fresh coriander. So we're just gonna take some of this coriander like so, and all you basically want are the leaves. So here we have our lovely coriander. Now, a little tip for you. Don't hammer your herbs, just gently slice them, sometimes just almost once. But most importantly, that all the flavour that these herbs contain, especially coriander, which has a really kind of powerful flavour, is in your Scotch egg mix, not on your chopping board. Now remember, the smoked salmon is already cured, so that's lending a lovely bit of salt to the dish. So be careful, so just add a little bit and now start to taste. A little bit of crushed sea salt. White pepper in this, not black. The white's just a bit more fragrant, not as harsh. Now we're gonna take our spoon and just fold all these wonderful flavours around. Now that is delicious. You can smell the coriander, the chopped spring onions. That's lovely. Right, that now goes into the fridge. Now, we've got some wonderful quail eggs here, and we've got a pan of boiling water. Now, for quail eggs this size, 2 minutes 20. Sounds very precise, but when you cut into it and you've got that lovely, rich, beautiful orange yolk pouring out, it's worth being precise. I've got a slotted spoon. Just gonna pop our eggs in there very gently, like so, and lower them into the boiling water, and then set the timer immediately. 2 minutes 20. So our quail eggs are cooked, and we've put them into some ice water. Now, by putting malt vinegar into the water, the acid actually breaks the membrane of the shell down and makes it a lot easier to peel. So great tip there. Now, I'm just gonna gently tap the egg on the top, on the bottom, and then roll. Now, you can hear it breaking, so it's pretty much shattering like a big sheet of glass all the way around. And the easiest way is to start what you would call like the point of the egg and just basically work the shell all the way around. And see how it just comes off? So easy. So we've got a lovely poached quail egg. Just gonna grab our mix, which is nice and firm now. About that much, like so. You can always add a little bit more. Now form a ball, because that sort of tells you the size that you kind of roughly want them to be. Then press it into your hand, pop your egg, just gently, and then just fold the mix back round the egg, like so. And it's as simple as that. And then start to just move it around so that the egg's nice and tight into the middle, the mix is lovely and tight to the egg, and you've got a nice, round, firm ball. So I'm just gonna pop our Scotch egg into there like so, and roll it around in the egg white. Shake off, just using your one hand for this job, over to our breadcrumb, change hands, and roll it around in the breadcrumb. Go back in with both, now take it out, and just reshape it one last final time before we drop it in the hot oil. So that's our Scotch eggs made. And this is a great chance now to make a wonderful dip to go with them. Now, salmon works really well with curry, and fish generally works beautiful with mayonnaise. So we're gonna make a curry mayonnaise. So we've got some homemade mayonnaise. Now, to make it curryfied, we're gonna add a good pinch of mild korma curry powder. Next, a good pinch of turmeric. Turmeric is bringing warmth, also giving it a nice rich yellow colour. Now we're gonna go back to those ingredients that we had in our Scotch egg. Some sweet chilli. Quite generous with the sweet chilli. It's lovely, gives a wonderful warmth and goes really nice with the mayonnaise. Some Tabasco. So we've got that lovely rich mayonnaise, and we need some acidity coming from some lime and some lemon. Some lemon zest, juice of the lemon. And now we're just gonna bring those lovely ingredients together. Now, like I said, it's your palate, you have the flavour just how you want it. So in you go. And straight away, the sweet chilli is so important. It must taste of the curry powder because we're calling it a curry mayonnaise. Getting lovely warmth from the turmeric, but most importantly, that lovely acidity is just cutting through everything. Okay, so we're gonna take our eggs now over to our fryer. So we're just gonna place them like this in the basket. So just drop them in, like so, gently. Now we're just gonna let them cook for about a minute. That's all they're gonna take. That oil is very, very hot. Look at those beauties. Now, just take them straight out onto kitchen roll or a cloth like so. Woohoo! Beautiful. Look at these. Fantastic, crispy, lovely and round. We're just gonna finish them now with a bit of sea salt over the top. Now, no matter, well, any chef worth their salt, no matter how long you've been chefing, this bit is, well, for me, so exciting. Hoping that that egg is beautifully runny in the middle. Oh my God. Smoked salmon, Scotch eggs. That's what you, listen to that sound. We just put our Scotch eggs on the plate. Like so. Put a couple of whole ones on there. For probably the blokes that just want to like eat them like apples. Take some lovely watercress, which is just beautiful, nice and peppery, goes so nice with the salmon. Then we've got our wonderful, rich curry mayonnaise. It just smells amazing and just goes so wonderful with those lovely Scotch eggs. Smoked salmon Scotch eggs, curry mayonnaise, beautiful peppery watercress drizzled with some olive oil, some lovely lemon to squirt over. Put that down in the middle of the table, everyone tucking in. I'm telling you, that is comfort food at its best.
Great recipe there, and if you liked it and like the look of that dish, then Paul will be cooking for us here at the house in a couple of weeks' time. Now I'll be giving you a masterclass in cheesecake very shortly, and I'll be chatting some more to my brilliant guest, Simon Reeve, at the end of the show. But I'll see you back here in a couple of minutes when the brilliant Dipna Anand will be making a palak chicken. I've got no idea what it is, but it's coming after the break. Welcome back. Now I'll be sharing the only cheesecake recipe you'll ever need in this week's little masterclass. I'll be treating my guest, Simon Reeve, to lamb meatballs a little bit later. But first, I'm looking forward to this bit. I'm delighted to be back in the kitchen once again with the father and daughter double act, whose banter is almost as spicy as their food. From the brilliant Southwall restaurant, brilliant, it's the brilliant Dipna Anand and Gulu Anand. Wonderful to have you back. What are you going to be doing then, Chief? Both of you, what are you going to be doing?
So I'm going to be making a palak chicken, which is a chicken spinach dish in a base of onion and tomato, and then
Okay.
spicing it up.
What's it called?
Palak chicken. Palak is the Indian
Palak.
word for spinach.
Okay.
Say it properly. Palak chicken.
Palak.
Yes.
No, yeah. Well, palak.
Palak.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to be making that, and it's going to be served with a lacha prata bread, which is a prata but a layered prata with ghee in the middle.
Okay.
And then sizzled on the griddle with more ghee. And Dad's going to be chopping up a chicken into 28 plus pieces.
Now, this is I'm intrigued about. You're 28 pieces.
Yes.
We've never seen this. Me and you have been cooking a long time. There's probably-
No, chef have seen it,
There's
no?
80 years between us two and
And we can
experience.
get
Never
some
seen this.
chicken too, but
So,
I mean,
Gilbert, we're intrigued about this. But while you're portioning up that, you're going to then start off
Yeah,
and do
I'm
the...
going to start off.
Do this bit. So I'll
My
get the pan
masala.
on for you and then we can get
Right,
start.
this is just normal vegetable oil.
OK, then, Dad, I'll let you carry on. So.
Yeah, Dad can start doing the
Slow
chicken.
motion.
Cumin
Turn the
seed.
chicken. So we've got that.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
That's two things I've never seen before. Have you seen a cut chicken? Look at
Well,
this.
I've seen that because my mum used to do that.
Look at this.
Because in France we eat it.
There's a boneless piece completely off the leg. The leg is still there.
How do you do that again?
Okay, I'll show you on the other one.
Sorry, you're right there.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Then you've got this.
I've added my onions, by the way. The cumin is sizzling away in that lovely oil.
Yeah.
And you do that. Okay, now you're going to cut it from the joint itself.
Right.
Yeah,
So through the knuckle.
through the knuckle.
joint,
Yeah. And then
Look at that.
just make that into.
And you got another piece on there.
Yeah.
Okay. It's good, huh? See?
Clever, huh?
We learn every day. I always say
When
that.
I cook at
Sorry,
home,
what was- Yeah.
Dad does the chicken and then I do the masala.
I'm not surprised Dad did the chicken looking at it.
he's
Yeah,
really good at
exactly.
it. He's fast.
It's quite impressive to see that, though, isn't it?
Good, right?
Right, so what have we got in here, then?
Okay, so I've added my oil. I've added some cumin, which sizzled in the oil. Once my cumin was talking to me, I added my onion.
I'm sure cumin was talking to you.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That means when it's sizzling.
Right, okay.
When it's talking to you, it's a chef's term. Right? So now I have added my green chili, which is this one here, bird's eye green chili.
Yeah.
And I'm just waiting for my onions to really caramelize and brown. This takes quite long.
OK. This is the crucial bit, is it? You've got to
Yeah,
get
so
a little bit of colour
if you
on.
mix that, I'll just, in the meanwhile, start making some peras for my prata for later on, so we don't have to do that.
So what is this dough, then? Tell me what's
So
in
this
the dough.
is chapati flour mixed with a little bit of water and some oil, and it turns into a nice smooth dough. It's not one of those doughs that you can like overwork or anything like
So
that.
you did mix that by hand, then?
Yes. Or you can mix it in one of those cool.
I can't believe you just...
And then you have that, like a steak sort
He's
of.
doing it slow. Do you know
Me
that?
and you have never seen this. I've never...
No, in
Look at the
pieces
look on
like
his-
that, no. Well, that's good to know. Next time I have my 28 people, they've got a piece each. It's fantastic. One chicken.
When you got one chicken, you got 28 people turning up, you got one
fabulous.
chicken.
Yeah.
One gulu, that's what you need.
Exactly.
So
Have
here
you
we
done
are.
it already? Oh, you're
Wonderful. Very good.
It's pretty impressive. And you used all of it. Yeah, all of
Oh
it.
yeah. Just this left.
Yeah, you don't because of the long next to it. Yeah.
Just the rib.
Fab.
Just the rib
Yeah, I've
case
done
there.
these for a little bit later.
Right, these are starting to colour a bit.
But you need it really nice and caramelised.
All right, I'll turn it up a bit.
Yeah, what I'm going to do in the meanwhile, so you're going to go in a second with ginger garlic, but what I'm going to do is just to save us a little bit of time and also save the masala from splashing, is add your spices into here. So this is turmeric. This is a bit of red chilli. We've added green, so we don't want to spice it up too much because the green is really strong as well.
OK.
Some cumin powder goes in as well.
Where does this come from in India? Is this south, middle, the east, west?
This is
No?
Punjab.
Punjab.
Yeah, this is Punjab. This is one of Papaji's recipes, so my grandfather's recipes, the palak chicken with spinach, and we always use fresh spinach for this.
Yeah.
So, Gulu, was all your family foodies? All of them?
Yeah.
The-
My
all-
father was a very popular chef. He was an expert. And then a lot of people used to follow
A
him.
superstar chef.
Yes. He used to cook for the Maharajas in India before.
Right.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
then he migrated to Kenya And this was before the independence.
So did he have restaurants as well when he was doing that, or just?
No,
just...
not just from their home in the village.
Yeah.
And then it all started.
And then when was the decision for you? Because you obviously London bound now. When was the decision for you for Kenya? Why Kenya for a restaurant? Why?
I think there were no airplanes. They took the dhows which landed in Mombasa.
Love this.
So, and they were very fantastic explorers, you see.
Yeah.
Nobody would sort of use those sort of things to actually come out of from country to a new country.
Yeah.
So, they were explorers.
That's fantastic, right? So, sorry, I'm not doing my job here. So.
Yeah, you actually lost concentration again. So what we are putting in now is the look, it's nice and brown now,
Can
right?
I just say congratulations are in order because you're married?
Yes, I am married.
How
and
long
before
have you-
ask me, nothing has changed. Everything is the same. I've been married for 1.5 months.
1.5 months.
1.5 months.
Okay, there you go. Congratulations. I don't think that deserves a round of applause, doesn't it?
So, by the way, I added all my spices into my masala.
Yeah.
And now what I am going to be doing is swapping. This is going to take a while to split. So what I want to happen is my masala to split. I want my...
Is that just by cooking it down?
Yes, your oil will start to seep out the edges. So let's bring that one over.
Which is that? Look, it's split. There you go. Right.
That's a split one. So you see the difference. So that will happen...
After...
Exactly.
10 minutes?
About 8 to 10 minutes, depending on your heat. And then what I'm going to do on this one, Dad, you've got to pass me the spinach once this is...
Yeah.
Well, Dad's actually following my instructions.
And it's not just that now, because you've got your restaurant in Southall, and you've got your restaurant as well.
Yes.
And then you're just about to launch another one.
I'm just about to launch another one in Milton Keynes.
Right. Okay.
So that's another restaurant on the way. A little bit of a challenge, but all coming together really well. Spinach is in. Butter goes in as well.
But it seems to me that your restaurant brilliance is still that's the
landmark.
That's a
Dad's going.
That's the pillar.
That's the one. That's the one.
Right, that's ready for blending now. So if you could please blend that for me. And in the meanwhile, I will get this clean so I can start rolling out
So
some
you're going to do
parathas.
these. So tell us what these are then.
Okay, so these are paratha bread. So paratha is a really popular Indian Punjabi bread, which is got butter through the middle of it. But this is a different way of making a paratha. So it's a lacha paratha. So it's a layered paratha. I'm going to show you how we do that. What I've done with the paratha is just make a round disc.
Yeah.
And then I roll it out to about a starter-sized plate. Add a little bit of ghee in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay, so the ghee has gone in. I added a bit of salt for seasoning. Is it really nice and blended?
Yes.
Okay, right. Dad, you can please put the chicken in there.
That's chicken?
Between yourselves. So I rolled it up.
I've got it all over my
And
fridge.
in order for the layers to be formed, I'll just show you what you are doing. So you're turning it into a sausage shape like this. And this is what's going to give it the lacha, the layers.
Okay.
Okay, so...
So once you put the chicken in, do you put the lid on?
Give it a mix first.
Use that.
Go on, Dad,
Okay.
you take over. Right?
And James, can you put the tawa on that hot plate, please?
Are you doing okay, yeah.
Yes. So when I...
Like a pain au raisin.
Yes, so you put the middle back in,
Yeah.
right? And then you roll it, dip
One
it in your
small,
flour. And you can see when you're rolling it,
Okay. So once you got the chicken in, how long do you cook this for then?
about 15 to 20 minutes, just until the chicken is perfectly cooked.
With the lid on?
Yes,
or?
please. So you put the lid on, and then that will take about 15, 20 minutes. You can add some water gradually, a little bit at a time, but if you bring that one here, and we put
you
this
cooked
one
before?
on low, which is one I've done already.
And I'll bring
And
this
then
one
this,
forward.
as
So
you can
tell me about
see-
these that you're doing now, because people will be intrigued about these.
Right, so you can see when I'm rolling it out,
Yeah.
the layers.
Where do you get the layers from?
Because when I made the spiral...
I didn't see that bit.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, like a
because
pain au
again,
raisin.
I didn't
Like
see
when
that
you
bit.
do a pain au raisin.
you
Yeah.
missed it.
Sorry.
Okay, well, you can do the next one then. Right, there we are. So that paratha is perfect. Is the tawa hot? Yeah, it's really hot, that is now. That's a bit over hot. Right, anyway.
No, that's fine.
Okay, right. Oh, quickly, put it down. Oh, see, that was your fault now.
What have I done? What have I done?
All right, just leave it now. Just leave it. Right, okay.
What do you mean, okay? You look disappointed.
Well, because you did it quite slow, right? That's why. Right. Anyway, once it half cooks on one side like this,
Yeah.
you put the ghee all over it.
Yeah.
And then, give me the chimta, please. Okay. Now,
A little bit more of that
you
than you.
do the same on that side.
Right.
And you put some more ghee.
Now
So
you've
this
got
is not one of the healthiest breads, a paratha. But
I'm
look,
liking this, though.
can you see the
Yeah,
can you
it's
see the
fantastic.
layers?
People are reusing ghee much more than before. Huh? You've
Like
seen
it,
that, yeah. I've got
Do you
a
want
jar
to
at
roll
home,
another
actually,
one
yeah.
out? Wow, look at that now.
That's good.
And is that almost done?
I think I'll watch Dad roll one out. Dad, can you just show me that? Because I missed it. Can you do this?
No.
Oh, go on, show me. She won't see it.
Right, this one is done.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Yeah. Roll it. That's good. Let's put some more.
More flour?
More flour. That's good.
More flour.
We're on it. We're on it now.
That's
We're
it,
on it
that's
now.
it.
I can
That's it,
feel the
that's
home
it.
straight.
Anyway, a
That's good.
paratha
That's
should
good.
look.
Get that
good.
pan thing nice and hot. It's coming
It
towards you
should
now.
look like this.
There we go.
Perfect.
That's not really round though, is it?
It's
Right. Anyway, okay.
right.
Right, let's plate up because that is ready. Whilst you're doing that,
Where does this thing come from?
this is my little papadum cart. It's just really nice. Got some new equipment for my restaurant, you see?
Yeah.
And I'll plate that up in here.
Yeah, that's ready.
Let me see your paratha.
Wow, this is good.
Whoa, that's a lot of butter. Right, that's it now. That's clarified butter. You can use butter or ghee, or you can use oil as well. Right, I'm going to switch this off. Okay.
So would this would be done with vegetables, would it, or always with chicken? You could do this with game.
No,
you could-
palak paneer is a nice one to use. You know the cheese, Indian cheese?
Yeah.
So lots of people make palak paneer.
Right.
But like Dad always insists that chicken on the bone tastes better. But if you prefer boneless chicken or thigh, that's fine as well. Doesn't always have
That
to
was
be.
amazing to see. That I've never seen anybody
Yeah, it's
cook
good,
cook
very
chicken like
interesting,
that.
yeah.
Amazing to see.
Yeah.
Right.
And literally that's
The
all it
chicken
is.
becomes bigger suddenly, isn't it, when you cut it?
Come on, you've got to understand that this is good.
This is fantastic.
This is fantastic, Dad says. Fantastic.
My one will be presented on top.
We'll cover it
right?
up, don't worry. We'll cover yours.
Hot shape.
No,
Heart
don't.
shapes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wow. This is lovely.
Yeah, thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you, Chef.
Anyway, that is the palak chicken. That is the paratha. Now, lacha.
Just turn that over.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, lacha means layered and squished together like this.
Yeah.
Perfect. And the raita, I've got some
That's the reason they
cucumber
call it
and
like that,
onion yogurt right here.
What is it?
And
Sorry, what
I've
is
got
it?
some-
Move that out of the way for you.
What is it, Dipna?
What's that? The cucumber and onion yogurt with cumin. I've
Okay.
got some more parathas as well, which I want to put on there.
Shall I do that?
No, here we go. Loads of paratha. You have to have this with loads of parathas. It's also amazing with rice, and you just garnish with some fresh chopped coriander. Don't forget your papadums. And yeah, that's palak chicken with lacha paratha, some mini papadums, and some cucumber and onion raita.
Bravo.
Dipna and glue, everybody. Go on then. Your best way is come round and eat
Yeah, I
this. I
think so,
suppose.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
you
you'll
just
just
dive in.
tear the bread, just dig
Dad, you've got
right
to try
in,
it. You've got-
everyone.
you've got to-
Let's go
So
now.
what do? You just tear it?
Here.
That's it?
I often wondered why the texture's like that. That's because you roll it up first of all.
Yeah, see
isn't
the
it?
layers, look.
That's because you roll it up.
Yeah, it's lacha,
First, yeah?
lot
yeah.
of layers.
And
And not that yet, no?
here could you use a spoon?
Very good.
That's
Very tasty. And not too spicy, which I love, because I...
There's
Spice.
a little spice kick
Yeah,
to it
but-
at the end, but it's
But
perfect.
very good.
that is amazing, isn't it? And the chicken. Keep it all on the bone.
And you take that with it?
Yeah.
Nice with the raita too.
Do you know when you came to the house first of all? You did a butter chicken.
Not chicken, yeah.
I said that is in the top 5 best dishes we've had on the show.
Oh, yeah?
That's beating it.
Oh,
fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. I often wondered how this is made, and now I know, you see. And now, if I want to cut a chicken into 28 pieces, I'm going to have to watch the show back or give you a shout, because that was a masterclass on its own. But how good is that?
Fabulous.
There we go. Dipna and glue, everybody. Fantastic. You got a masterclass of your own there as well. There we go. Right, Daniel will be cooking a little bit later, and I'll be chatting to Simon Reeve over a lamb meatball dish from Turkey. That's coming up a little bit later as well. But see you back here in a couple of minutes when I've got a masterclass of my own. I've got to try and beat that chicken with a cheesecake, but I'll give it a go. I'll see you after the break. Welcome back. Now, there's plenty more to come from my guest, Simon Reeve, and we're lucky enough to have the genius French chef, Mr. Daniel Galmiche, cooking for us next. But first, it's time for this week's little masterclass. And this week, I'll be going to be teaching you everything you want to know about how to make the perfect baked cheesecake. So first of all, cheesecake. It's got a fascinating history, cheesecake. It's said to be a dessert that was served at the first Olympic Games, really. And it's an amazing dessert. There are variants for it all over the world. Obviously, the American one tends to be baked, but tends to be a lot more dense because they use a lot more cream cheese in their mixture. This one is kind of Spanish, really, as opposed to the UK version, which would be set with a sort of like a digested crumb base, really, almost like a set cheesecake rather than it being baked. The American ones use a cracker or a sponge base. This one doesn't have a base, it's just simply baked. But it's using the mixture of cream cheese, some sugar, some vanilla, some eggs, some flour, and instead of creme fraiche, I've got some sour cream over here. So a tendency, like I said, the ingredients sort of stay similar, whatever you decide to do, whether it's set, but it's the addition of this, really, that makes all the difference, whereas this one doesn't have a base. So the first thing you want to do, really, is prepare your tin, first of all. So I've got an 8-inch loose-bottom cake tin over here. You can do this in any sort of form tin if you want, long one, oblong one, that kind of stuff, what you want to do. And you're going to take your little bit of butter, and although this is non-stick, the reason for the butter is to make the paper that we're going to cook it in stick. That's the crucial bit. So take the little bit of butter and make sure you go all up into the edges as well when you're doing this. So right into the top edges. Then you want to prepare your paper like that. So a little bit of paper. Just start off with a square like that. And then you want to create a circle. So fold it over, fold it over, fold it over, fold it over. You measure from the centre outwards. And what you're looking for, whatever size the tin that you're using, the mixture is quite liquid. So what you want to make sure is you've got plenty of paper to hold in that liquid. Otherwise, it's just going to leak everywhere. So when you cut it about 1.5 inches longer than the edge of the tin. And make a little curve in the top. So when you pop it in, you've got a circle. Your then circle can sit in the base. Now, this being sort of a Basque sort of cheesecake, this sort of Spanish-style cheesecake, you want to push the paper in, and it can be quite rustic. So don't feel the need to sort of actually crimp it perfect. It wants to be just quite rustic like that. The most important bit is that it's deep enough, the paper, to hold it all together and to obviously to make sure there's no holes in it. So that's your tin done, because the actual mixture is really, really straightforward and really simple. You just combine all these ingredients. So starting off with your cream cheese, that's going to go in there. With your sugar, that can go in. And we just break this down a little bit with a spatula first. There we go. And then the flavouring from this comes in the form of some vanilla. You can use vanilla essence, you can use the extract, you get the little paste now, but either way, a little bit of vanilla. In we go with the sour cream as well. And I think this is the difference with this one, really. You get a sharper flavour in there. Lose that out of the way. And then we can start adding our eggs. So it's really, you can do this in a machine. It's actually easier by hand, but 4 medium-sized eggs. They're going in, like that. And then the flour goes in. About 4 tablespoons of flour you want. Just plain flour, it's fine. And then I'm just going to change and use the whisk for this one. Get that spatula. And just carefully just break this down and mix it all in. That's it. And you just bring all this lot together. It's actually really, really simple. That the mixture, you can see, is actually quite loose. It's not as dense as a baked American cheesecake, which I find the best ones. Arlene's Bake Shop, that's where it was, in New York. I remember going there. She was so famous for her cheesecakes. Arlene's, there's a queue all the way around the block. The shop is really tiny. It's really long and narrow, and they've got the kitchen out the back, and the actual counter is tiny. And because of that, the queue goes for miles around the corner. But look, you just got this mixture. Bring it all together, really. That's all you're doing. Once it together like that. I'm then going to take our tin, and you pour the mixture in the tin. And this is what I was saying to you. It's quite crucial that you make sure that your paper is tall enough. And you pop that in. Now, it's entirely up to you at this point whether you put things like chocolate chip. You can put little pieces in there if you wanted to. You can put some orange zest if you wanted, lemon. It's entirely up to you. This is just a plain flavoured one with vanilla. Then what you do, unlike the American ones, it's sometimes baked in a bain-marie, which is just a tray with a little bit of water in it to protect the sponge from burning, really, with this. And the oven with an American one is set a lot lower. This Basque-style one is much hotter. So you set the oven about 220, 240 degrees. So it's a very hot oven, about 450 Fahrenheit. This sits in there for about 20 minutes at that temperature. Then after 20 minutes, you turn the oven down to about 180 to 200, cook it for another 20 minutes, and then just leave it. And then this is what you end up with, like that, which we'll sort out in a minute, because we're going to serve this with a little cherry compote. And this is so, so simple to do. When you've got things like this, cherries, strawberries, raspberries in season, it's so easy to do a compote. Rather than do a jam, you get this very, very hot. This is where you can mix and match. I'm just using water for this, but you can use brandy, port. It's entirely up to you. Red wine works in there as well. But you want to make sure this is nice and hot. And you make a stock syrup, first of all, which is just the combination of sugar and water, usually equal quantities of each. The cherries that I've got on here are already stoned, like that. So you heat this up, and you take your cherries and pop them in there. A little bit of vanilla if you wanted to. And then what we're going to do is rapidly cook this for about 2 minutes. And that's really your compote done. Now, you can, of course, buy your fruit already done, which I've got some in jars like this. But to be honest, these are actually really expensive, these sort of jars of, particularly you get them at Christmas time, these sort of compote of cherries and that kind of stuff. It's so, so easy to make them yourself. So you just need that stock syrup. You can see straight away it starts to create this lovely little glaze over it. That's equal quantities of just sugar and water. And the longer you cook it for, the more it's going to break down, technically. But we're just going to keep these nice and light, because then we can turn our attention to our cheesecake. Take this off. And then we can take this off the paper, like that. Keep your eye on the little cherries there. And we can open this up. You can see you've just got this. I love the way that they serve this. If you've been to Spain, you'll see this in shops. It just looks great like this. And then you can take a slice out of it. So just keep my eye on the cherries a bit. Like I said, only a couple of minutes. You see all this liquor, this juice starting to come out of it as well. You just take that off. And then to serve it, the best way to do that is heat up a knife, first of all. So get yourself some hot water, hot knife. Take your first slice, straight in the middle. And then it's important to wash your knife again and heat it up. So then you don't get any bits of cheesecake on the next cut. Like that, you get a nice, even cut. There's your little compote, and then you can lift this off. And remember, this is a cheesecake that's got no base to it. There's no sponge, there's no biscuit base. It's just the simple flavour of the cheesecake like that. Nice and simple. And I think the best way to do this is serve this at room temperature. I think when you put cheesecake in the fridge as well, it just sets too solid. I think the best way to have it is just at room temperature. And you can just take your lovely cherries like this with that little compote, where you get the little bit of a juice. And there we have it. It's super simple, but super, super tasty. There's cheesecake recipes all over the world. I've had it from Japan, America, the UK, of course, Portugal. But I think that, as a simple one from Spain, is one of the good ones. There you have it. Easy as that. Now, if there's anything you'd like to learn a little about us, then do keep in touch. We'll see if we can help out right here on the show. Time now for a quick break. Join again in a couple of minutes. We'll be tucking into one of Daniel Galmiche's trademark dishes. I'll see you in a bit. It's a good one, that. Welcome back. Now, I'll be laying on lunch of lamb meatballs for my guest Simon Reeve. That's coming up next. But first, I'm here with Dipna, and we're about to taste a dish from a genius of the French food world, whose CV contains stints behind the hubs of some of the most famous restaurants in the world. It's the fabulous Daniel Galmiche.
Thank you, James.
Good to have you back on the house. Good to have you on the show, as always.
Thank you so much.
I love this combination of duck and fruit, and particularly peaches as well. Amazing.
And what is interesting with what we're doing today, which is because there's two varieties, as you can see in here.
Okay.
This one seems to be always forgotten.
Yeah.
And it seems that people pick up always the other one. So today we're going to use that.
Okay.
So we're going to poach them in a syrup.
So you want me to get on and do the syrup
all that
first of all. So a little bit of water in here. That's where you want to start with.
Yep.
So you're not going to cook them. You're going to poach them first of all.
Poach them to take the skin off.
Okay.
We make sure that they're still a bit firm, otherwise they're going to collapse when we put it on.
So what goes into the syrup then?
Cinnamon, a touch of Szechuan pepper.
Yeah, I'll leave that with you.
Yeah.
Szechuan and bits and pieces. Do you mix much fruit and meat together?
No, not really.
Not really, it doesn't happen.
Maybe you can in like a biryani or a pilau.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
what's
the
the
pilau you
difference
do-
between these two peaches? Maybe it's just me, but is it a flavour difference?
The flavour and the texture, it's really nice. And some of them, the
Colour.
colour as well.
Colour
you
usually,
see.
the colours of these are slightly different.
The flesh is very different on flavour.
But in France, you use a lot.
So much.
A lot of
So-
these. You
and
see
you
a
got
lot of
the-
these
the
at the
vine-
markets and everywhere.
You got the purple one,
Yeah.
which is the flat vine peaches, yeah? So we're going to poach that.
Beautiful, banging
Peel it.
season as well. So you
Super.
poach them straight in the pan.
All the small one,
Yeah.
not those ones. Oh,
Well,
I see.
we're going to put the whole
Well,
thing.
okay.
So we
Yeah,
use
yeah.
all the small ones going.
Okay.
There
And
we
after
go.
that, you're going to please chop a shallot for me.
Okay.
While I score the duck.
Okay, that's
Okay.
the one. And then you want me to peel the
Peel the one
peaches as
which
well.
is
So I'll do the
already-
shallot first, anyway.
Yeah, well, let's
So
do-
we're
let
talking
me-
about travelling with Simon as well. That's on the show. You've done your fair bit of travelling recently.
This, yes,
There's
actually.
some amazing places. What's this?
I have.
Bulgaria and
I just back from Bulgaria.
California.
California.
So tell us about Bulgaria. I've never. What?
Well, it's a guy. It's a guy. I do a stint, like you call it, isn't it? Yes. Every year, it's a small boutique restaurant with 10 covers, and what is also amazing is totally 100% sustainable,
Right.
including his electricity, including his power, including his water, including the recycling. I never seen anything like it.
Wow.
It's so interesting.
What about the food? I've never been out there, so I've got
really
no
good
idea.
produce. They
Was
are
it meat or was it
meat or a lot of pork, like a bit in Hungary and women and this.
Yeah.
But also they got set truffle. I mean,
Right.
the mushrooms are wow.
For a Frenchman, he must be crazy.
Well,
out
I
there.
came back, he gave me a bag of truffle. I said, okay, right? I said, I don't mind. So now, back to the duck. So the duck, I like to start the duck in a cold pan. So it's going to release his own fat, and that's all you need, okay?
And it's interesting using the Szechuan pepper, which is I love Szechuan anyway.
But if you put too much, it numb your tongue.
Yeah.
And you can't taste
But
the
particularly if you get fresh Szechuan as well. It looks like green peppercorns.
Yeah.
Don't eat it. It's just, you can't fill your mouth for days afterwards. It's
you
unbelievable.
numb. You just say, well, I don't know what's going on, I can't taste anything. That goes in the oven.
In the oven,
about
yeah.
6 minutes. No.
6 minutes?
Yeah.
200 degrees?
Yeah, correct.
6 minutes.
So
okay.
this one we will poach, and this we've done some earlier. So if you can peel that for me, it'd be great.
So you want these peeled. There's your shallots chopped anyway, so I'll peel these.
Okay, I'm going to put
So,
a little butter there.
tell us about the Michelin thing, because you're involved in this thing in the Middle East as well. This is quite a fascinating thing. I mean, how you then got invited to sort of consult for this restaurant
it's called
to try and to achieve a Michelin star, is it?
Well, because Michelin is in the Middle East now,
Yeah.
so they're in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and everybody would like to have that as a kudos,
Yes.
which is not that easy. So, but at least be mentioned in a guide would be quite nice already, you know.
But it is an amazing place. I mean, it's one of those places where
Well, all the French chefs are there now. Did you see that? No?
anything's achievable with money apart from Michelin star. You can't buy one.
No, certainly not.
That comes through work and
Certainly not. No.
and that must be quite unusual out there.
It is. I think it's very unusual, and they all would like. I think to get into the bandwagon, really,
Yeah.
and say, because it's a kind of prestige.
Yeah.
And they all want. So we put some butter there, shallots.
Yeah.
And we've done a jus there. We're going to add that to it, reduce a little bit more.
So what is that stock you made? Have you made it out of...
Yes, we made a lovely reduction of chicken stock.
Yeah.
With a touch of Szechuan pepper in it as well.
So these peaches, how long do you cook these for then?
So you need to make sure that they remain a little bit firm.
Yeah.
Like that is perfect, and we peel them.
Okay, these are the ones that have been peeled.
Superb.
So how do you want me to prepare these?
So you just cut them in half, remove the stone,
Okay,
and after that in quarter.
in half.
And no more. I don't like when they are sliced completely because they can be mushy a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
And we need to just put that in a new pan. I can use the duck pan, which is
You
behind
can
me.
use... Yeah, so
Yes,
this is how
because
we've rested the ones that are on here
that's
as well.
perfect for it because they've got a little bit of the fat of the thing. So the one which are
right.
too much soft...
I'll chop these up into pieces like this. Yeah, I got them.
This is much firmer. That's better.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, so
No
that's
problem.
going to reduce.
So you use the firmer one, did you say?
No, I mean, you need to try to control the fact that you don't want to have them overcooked. You just kind of, not blanch them, but make sure that when they start to be soft, you just withdraw them
right.
from the
Take them
syrup
off.
so we can peel the skin off.
Okay.
Okay, that is nearly ready as
Now,
well.
I'm quite fortunate. I've just come back from France, and one thing that I love about France is that the loyalty to the area is France. It's very similar to sort of Spain. I'm sure you have that in India as well.
Yeah.
But that
The regional kind of crowd is...
because you come from Comté, the Comté cheese place, which is. I can't say it's the equivalent to cheddar because it's not, but it's...
No, please
it's
don't say that. No.
But do you know, but in volume, it's probably France's most famous cheese or
It's
most popular
one,
cheese.
Number one French
Yeah.
cheese. Yeah,
that's what I was trying to say. It's not the same.
I
as-
know. I'm just...
It's not as good as cheddar, but other than that,
No, it's different.
It's
because
okay.
we should be aware that in Britain now some of the cheese are amazing.
It is absolutely delicious.
I mean, I've tried some.
And that's because you have an amazing dairy there as well. That's the key to it.
And also because they have to keep the recipe original, the pasture need to be the same all the time.
That's the same cattle and all that kind of
Same
thing.
cattle and all this kind of thing, yeah. Okay, that's enough. We don't need to do more. We don't want them completely as a puree. They need to remain a little bit firm and nice. That I never threw away. This is go back in here, okay? And now we're going to...
I'll clean that knife for you.
And what we're going to add to that, which people sometimes don't use, tarragon goes very well with peaches. Very well. So the flavor will come out very differently, and it won't affect the duck flavor either. So that's enough. We can take that and put it out in here on the
So
side.
you're almost travelling as far as Simon at the moment. When no wonder I can never get hold of you on your mobile phone. It's all the international dial number.
Well, it's good though. I enjoy what
fantastic.
I'm doing. And it's good for me.
Exactly.
You know what I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got our peaches away.
Peaches, sauce is ready, duck is ready.
Okay, we're ready to plate then. So
Ready to plate.
yeah. Do you want the tarragon in with the peaches now? or-
Just chopped a little bit for me. Touch of it.
Not too
That's
much.
Perfect. Yeah. Just drop it in here, and that's it. And we're going to do. That plate is really wonderful. It's perfect. Can I put that in here? It's okay.
I'll clean it.
Thank you.
Right.
So duck. Beautiful. So I like to do the duck a different way than people, not necessarily the classic way.
Right.
Okay. Just beautiful color like
Pretty
this.
cooked, isn't it?
And we're going to, another spoon there. You see the color? That's exactly what we're looking for.
Just caramelise them a little bit. In essence, it's such a simple little dish, isn't it, really?
But the thing is, like we always say, you and I, the ingredient is the key.
Yeah.
And after that, if it's a simple but beautiful ingredient, why complicate?
Yeah.
That's the thing I don't understand sometimes. We're going, and having said that, I've done it for years, okay, so I should really understand. So jus doesn't need to be too much reduced, there's no point.
Yeah. How good does that
Okay?
work?
And we're going to finish with a little bit more of this on the top.
So why do you finish with that? Give us the name of it.
So it's a roasted duck with Szechuan and a roasted peach in a syrup with cinnamon.
The man is a bit of a legend.
And a touch of tarragon.
Daniel Galmiche, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We tasted them raw. Try them cooked with duck. There you go, Dipna. Should we? You can. I'll slice a few bits of this one.
Let's have a... Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll have a few slices of this.
The plate or not really? No. We eat like good chef, no?
Dipna's got the plate.
Yes.
The duck is perfect.
It is. It really is.
It is perfect.
Happy? Oop. See? Too greedy.
You know the
Really yummy.
I cannot tell you. Normally, when you were doing this, you would just saute the peaches off, but by poaching them in that little bit of Szechuan, a little bit of the cinnamon, they're amazing. These.
Yeah.
And those flavours all together, the peach, the duck, the tarragon, it's perfection.
But they're almost
Thank you.
so good, you don't have to serve it with the meat. You could actually do that as a dessert.
Completely. Next recipe, yeah?
Daniel Galmiche, everybody.
Thank you.
Legend, told you.
Thank you.
Now we've got time for one more final recipe this morning, so join us again in a couple of minutes when I'll be dishing up a final course of lamb meatballs, Turkish style, for all my guests, including Simon Reeve. I'll see you after the break. That is delicious. Welcome back to the final part of the show. I'm back in the kitchen with Dipna, Simon, and of course, Daniel. And for this, we're going to go, well, not to Japan, like we went to before. And we've a bit of India as well, a bit of France. And I thought this will go to Turkey for this one.
Okay.
Little meatballs, lamb meatballs, really simple. So we've got some minced lamb over here. I'm going to make a lovely sauce using tomatoes, some wood-roasted peppers, a bit of water, and some of this. It's like a Turkish pepper paste with paprika in it. It's lovely. It's really, really nice. And I'm going to fry off my meatballs in there. So if you can get that pan nice and hot with some oil in it. If you put some salt and pepper into there, that would be great as well. We're doing that as well.
Yeah.
So we talked earlier on in the show about this amazing tour that you're up to as well. We're going to talk about that in a minute because you're on about stories and stuff like that. I was reading, there's so much about you as well, so many books that you've written as well. But some of the stories are quite fascinating. Tell me about this malaria, because this was life or death thing for you. This was...
Yeah, I wasn't very well, it's true.
You're proper not well.
I was what we call big sick. I managed to...
Big sick.
Big sick. I managed to get malaria. I was in West Africa. This is a few years back. And, yeah...
Does that come from mosquito?
It does. It's the pesky mosquito, probably our biggest ever enemy, actually. And still, you know, millions of people are contracting malaria every year on the African continent.
Isn't it surreal that the smallest thing is our biggest enemy?
I know. It's astonishing.
Yeah.
We think of the big animals, but really it's that little buzzing swine that we should be worried about. I was very lucky, though. I was able to get treatment. But the treatment is basically Third World War breaking out in your body, and I was ill for a long...
Because they attack you to attack it.
Yeah, so
it's quite an aggressive...
Yeah, what I took, basically, it persuades the parasites to start their attack early. So war breaks out inside you, and it was a terrible experience. But it was also a reminder. I was a fortunate one. I was able to get the treatment. I was able to recover, but
didn't you go through something else recently that was equally as bad, but nobody knew what it was?
Yeah, I was...
Where did you get that from?
Peru. I'd been on a drugs raid in Peru, and I managed to get...
We all thought we'd had a life, but go on then. You're on...
I managed to get proper sick when I was home. I was big sick again then, actually. And that was the first time I'd been sick really ill for over a decade. But again, I was treated...
It's really glamorous travelling, lark, isn't it, that you're going on?
You know, it is.
Dip's face.
Are you all right now, then?
I'm sort of all right now. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. I'll breathe in that direction towards Joe. I was ill, but look, I always say this. You can be compressed and stopped by your fears from doing things in life. And you can focus on the negatives. But life is fundamentally risky. I really believe that. We have to take chances. You have to explore. You have to get out there, whether it's around the planet or closer to home. You've got to do stuff. So don't be put off by your worries.
I mean, you must have seen some amazing things in the 20 years of doing this, but also dramatic changes. We've got to talk about, you know, climate change and population change, I suppose,
the planet is definitely changing. The population of the world has almost doubled in the time I've been travelling. So, yeah, we are seeing massive changes. I've seen that on my journeys, and we've always tried to include it into the journeys that I do. It's not just me on my travels having a wonderful time. We try and incorporate what I sort of pretentiously call the light and the shade. So the joy of travel, but also proper stories from countries around the world. It feels a bit old-fashioned, really. I go off on these exotic-sounding adventures, but we work in some proper stories as well. I want to tell people interesting things when I'm in Madagascar or Malawi or South America. I don't know.
I mean, you're sat there open map, but you love travelling as well, don't you?
Yeah, I love travelling, but my thing is, if you're going somewhere, do you like get advice as in, you know, you should start taking malaria tablets? Because when we like go to certain places, the doctor will say, "I'll just take these."
Yeah.
But I'm just intrigued to know whether, like, when you go on these holidays, are you like prepared? I need to take this.
We take a few precautions, we get some advice. Some of it we listen to, and some of it we think maybe they're trying to stop us from having proper adventures. But we definitely listen, and I take a massive medical kit away, and we've all been properly trained. We do something called hostile environment training.
Oh, right.
Where we're...
Well, this is the bit that I want to talk about as well, because this is quite fascinating. Some of the situations you find yourself in. They're talking about stories. I mean, you've written books on this, so it's common knowledge as well. Tell us about, because you're going to mention this in the tour as well.
Yeah.
This KGB. So anybody who's coming on the tour, just dim down the volume a little bit. Tell us about this in MI5 and how this is going. What on earth were you doing?
The KGB one I can happily talk
I'm cooking meatballs.
I talked about that on my first tour, so I'm not going to talk about it. So I told people on that. Yeah. So we were in an unrecognised country called Transnistria, which is between Moldova and Ukraine. And we were doing something a bit stupid, trying to creep through bushes to film a secret Russian military base. It's perfectly normal, honestly. Right. And we were captured by the KGB. And it was a bit nerve-wracking, I'm not denying. And I'm gripping onto the side here as I remember it. But we were really lucky. Our guide...
We were really lucky.
Our guide remembered that I'd been telling this story about how I was supposedly descended from Sir Christopher Wren, and she turned up in the middle of the night at the KGB headquarters and got us released on the grounds that I was distantly related to the Queen, and that was how we were released. You need stories like that in life, for goodness sake.
You can't make those stories up as well. You can't even make them up. But then... Tell me, because I've got the sauce over here. I've just taken the tomatoes. This is really...
I love how you're multitasking.
Well, your story's much better than what this...
Come on.
So we got tomatoes in here with oil. We got peppers. We got the Turkish paste that's here as well. And I'm going to blend all this up. Or my chef over here is going to blend it all up.
And the meatballs are whirring away there.
The meatball's going to be frying away, and then we're going to take this paste or this mixture, blend it,
into the processor,
and then put it back into the pan.
Interesting.
And then add the meatballs to it as well. But this is all your lamb meatballs as well. This is just fantastic as well. We just blend that up. That's going to go back in the pan, Chief.
This is top-level multitasking, it is.
That's going to go back in there. So tell me,
guys.
so we've done KGB. Yeah. How on earth do you get involved with MI5? Was that crawling through undergrowth as well and all that? How does that work?
That wasn't quite undergrowth. I will fess up to this on the tour, I think. Well, I was researching a book on terrorism, and I'd managed to track down this rather dodgy arms dealer, and I was trying to do my own little surveillance.
Was he French from Comte?
He wasn't. He's not in the room.
We never know.
Nobody here is under suspicion.
Right, okay.
But yeah, I wasn't the only one watching this guy, basically, and I was taken aside while I was on my little surveillance job by some people from MI5 and said, would you mind not doing this because you might mess up our mission? And so they said they passed me on to some people from the FBI, and they become one of my great sources when I was writing my book on terrorism. Why are you looking at me like that? It's very normal, honestly.
Yeah, no, of course it is normal. That's why we do it. That's why we do every day with food.
We just... No, we don't do this every day with food.
Nothing that you said is normal.
Nothing. So all these stories are coming to a stage show. You're doing. This is your second tour, is it?
I'm doing another theatre tour.
So
yes.
Tell everybody.
I'm very excited.
This is your moment while my meatballs are cooking to promote.
No pun intended.
To promote the tour. So there you go. Well, when are you out on the road?
I'm on the road in October and November around this beautiful country, and I'll be travelling around. I'm telling stories basically, but I'm also trying to encourage people, maybe even, dare I say, inspire them and push them and nudge them a little bit to get out of their comfort zones, to do things a bit differently, try food they've never tried before, and get new experiences as a result. But, you know, I want to remind people this planet is still beautiful and amazing. It is still a planet worth believing in and fighting for. There is still beauty and wonder and adventures out there. So I'll be talking about all of that.
Well,
look at what you're doing. It looks delicious.
It's going to be absolutely fantastic, I'm sure. And this is, as well as this little dish, but this is your nice little bit of Turkish meatballs, which we're just going to serve as they
Properly
are.
whipped up there.
Well, with the help of a Michelin star chef. It's always quite handy, really.
I like how you did that. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. But we could... But look,
You wore it lightly there, but
yeah, we just take a few of these. It's nice and simple, super, super tasty, with a little bit of the yoghurt on it. I'll serve that with it as well.
Really good.
But nice and easy. Where's my little yoghurt gone? There you go.
It is a cliche, but it is worth repeating how the food can just transport you.
Yeah, well,
It
there
is.
you have it.
It is. Yeah.
There you have it. My little version of sort of Turkish lamb meatballs, nice and simple. All the while, I never thought I'd be doing this while listening to the KGB, MI5 and malaria. Anyway, all that in 10 minutes. Done.
Yay!
Simon, there you go. Dipna,
superb.
I've got a plate for you as well. I will plate you
okay.
another one. You're going to have to eat from the pan.
Yes,
Is that all right?
Well,
you might not want to. You're going to have to eat from the pan, if
Yeah.
that's all right. So
Okay.
that's just to serve it. You could do this with rice if you wanted to, but I just think a little drizzle of olive oil over the top like that, just to finish it all off. But I think...
I like his drizzle there.
There we go.
Can I put a little bit in here too? Yeah.
Super, super tasty.
All right?
Tell me what you think. And a meal in, what, 8-10 minutes?
Yeah.
So,
Perfect.
and use lamb mince as well.
Delicious one.
The lamb in this country is some of the best lamb in the world. It is the best lamb in the world. And we should be using the farmers from this country as well. It's just amazing. But that lamb mince is
Just
incredible.
again, every element there is just spot-only, perfectly, deliciously, freshly, incredibly cooked.
Just having a Michelin star chef as your commis chef, you see, that's always helps. Right, that's it. A massive thank you to all my guests. The brilliant Jonathan Kemp, Paul Ainsworth, Dipna Anand, Daniel Galmiche, and of course, Simon Reeve. Good luck with the tour as well. Good luck, good luck. And we'll see you back at the same time next Saturday morning. We'll be joined by more top chefs, other brilliant guests. Until then, take care, stay safe. Thanks for watching it and enjoy your holiday. Your car's outside, you're leaving in 2 minutes. See you next week. Bye for now.
Finally, break.